Hey guys, so I've kind of been accessing this Jaguar and it's totally out of whack. So what I'm gonna show you guys, I ended up taking off the rear boot tail of it, and I'm gonna go back to the stock one. It was too narrow in a lot of spots. It was basically about a ½ inch short everywhere. The only thing that fit on that thing was the rear deck lid or trunk lid. So I put the original one back on, and I'll show you where it used to sit and stuff like that. The only problem is trying to get true numbers. I have a book, this one right here, the XK 140 Explored, and it has a lot of the dimensions, but it doesn't have the dimensions that I'm going to talk about today. If any of you guys are Jaguar fanatics or you own a particular car, this is the drop head coupe. I'd love to hear back from you guys. I need some measurements and I'll go over them in the video, but I'm going to show you how wrong a lot of this stuff was put on. So let's get to it. Alright, so as you can see, I put the old boot on. It is rotted in certain areas. Down here at the B post, definitely back here. Somebody already tried, or started, I guess you would say, to replace the trunk floor where the spare tire goes. That's not a problem. Even this back piece, that's not a problem. What I was concerned about is the mounting holes. And luckily, I've got these two mounting holes right there, that bolt and that bolt. So that's going to indicate those back there. And then I have these on the original floor. I have those two bolts that go in the frame. So I know that this is the correct back. The only other issue, or the other problem that I came across, so if you guys can see that black line, that was where the old B post was. So this one is already a ½ inch further forward. So I know that the rear boot is in place, but the door on this side does not fit. The other side fits, but it's really tight. So I'm going to show you guys. So the gap is atrocious. So this body line factory actually leans back. This one is supposed to be perpendicular to the ground, which I showed you in the beginning video with a straight edge next to it. You can see the black line, that's the straight edge from the ground going up. And if I get further back, if you look at the bottom of the car, it's all going uphill. So what I've been doing, I'm still assessing it. I haven't even started making anything. I'm just trying to pull measurements. So as we come around here to the front, I took off the right front fender, which was welded on up in the cowl area and stuff like that. So I cut that off. Okay, and just so you guys know, if I could hold that straight, you guys see that kick panel leaning forward. Okay, it's about, the back of it back here needs to drop about 3/8 of an inch to a ½ inch. So I don't know if the footboard itself, which I'm bolted in where it goes, if that needs to actually, if that's not correct, but I know this piece right here has to slide back. Or the top has to roll forward. This side has been butchered on, so the door don't even fit on this side. So what I'm asking for your guys' help, if you're in the Jaguar community, I need several measurements. So I need a measurement from the flat side, not this bent edge, but this flat side of the B post, down the rocker to the flat side of the A post. I also need it up here where the
the top of the door, as you can see, it's like a 3-inch deal. This little channel, at the top of that channel, straight across to the A-post. It's gonna be a little bit bigger at the top than it is at the bottom, I think, the way, because this is straight and this is leaned. The back is lean. So I need that measurement. I also need a measurement as straight as you can get it, if you can, from the rocker up to the top of the windshield. That's gonna tell me how far I've gotta roll back or forward the cowl. So if those bolts are not in the correct location and this whole cowl has to go forward, meaning it sits like this now, like this, that's fine, I'll redo the floor. And then I need another measurement from outside here of the body to the other side, because this is kind of flimsy. And once you give me that dimension, what I'm gonna do is I'll do the math on how wide these are. I'm gonna put a spreader bar in here so I know this is the correct width. From that point, then I know the back boot is in the correct location, it's the correct width. Then I'll come up here and I've got to cut all this free from the rockers, and I've got to start standing this up. So my next step is to cut the other fender off so I just have the cowl to work with. Once I get this in the correct location, then I could start putting the doors on and start doing the metal work. So I just wanted to kind of share with you guys what I kind of been doing. And it's a job, but what I've come to conclusion is this particular boot that was made out of California, we suspect it could be for a 120. It's narrower, and a 120 is narrower than the 140s. So if I can get any feedback or help on any of you guys that maybe have one of these cars, even if it's painted, just pull some measurements for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. But after that, I should be able to be gangbusters on this thing and come in, and once I get everything square and I get the cowl back in place, then the doors will go on and then I can start doing the metal work. But it was a chore. This rocker back here on the right side in the back was shoved in approximately about an inch, but it matched up to that boot. And that's what was throwing everything off. And when I just measured off the frame back here, it's actually a flat part of the frame to the rocker. I pulled it out 5 inches on each side, which gave me a floor pan depth of where the floor pan sits at 46 1/4. In that book I showed earlier, that book says it's supposed to be at 46. So with an 1/8 inch opening on each side would be all right, because when I did that and I set the original boot down, it fit like a glove right here on both sides. And another measurement, if you guys can get it, I need the width of probably from this pinch seam to the other side on the width, because this rocker is outboard. But I'd also like to know maybe from the center of the hinge when your doors open of how high it is off the rocker, because in relation, if this shoves forward and the floor is true, this has to get cut more. This is at 4.5 inch from the bottom to the top. The other one's at 5. So I need some measurements, and I've looked everywhere on the internet, can't find anything. That book does not have those. The book has basic measurements of like what this is supposed to be, what the center of the taillight holes, and the width of the boot lid. So I haven't been doing any videos. I've just been trying to assess this thing to see where I actually need to start. That becomes the problem when you get into something like this that's been through numerous shops and everybody thought they knew what they were doing. But I do know one thing, that kickboard, foot panel board is not supposed to be leaned forward. I know that for a fact. This is supposed to be perpendicular to the ground and to the rocker. This is the one that leans back. So now that I've got this one leaning back correctly, this one is leaning forward in the opposite direction, and the door does not do that. So if I have any followers out there or anybody watching this video that has any information, or if your friends have something like this that's an XK140 and it's a drop head coupe, because they made 3 different models, all the measurements are different, believe it or not. Some are bigger, some are hard top, so it's different. But if I can get the same, if I can get those measurements that I listed, greatly appreciate it. And if I can get somebody to do that, I will send you a hat and a shirt for free. So if anybody can do something like that, I have a rough number of what it is. So I know where to start somewhat, but I don't know, I have the bottom measurement because it's true. But the top, I don't know if it actually leans in or leans out or if it's square to the bottom. That's what I need to know. So if you guys can shoot me some comments, or somebody that I can get in contact with, or somebody can contact me, greatly appreciate it. And like I said, I'll do a little giveaway on this deal if somebody could help me with some measurements. But this is where I'm at. I'm still doing a lot of assessing to try to figure out where everything is. Because once I get this square and my doors fit, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna build a metal X frame from the windshield, everything down. Then what I'm gonna do is I'll probably pull the whole body off, because it's gonna be easier to come in here and fix a lot of the wheel wells and stuff like that up in top that's rotted, and definitely work at standing level. And then this back piece here, I've already got the dimensions, and I'll start English wheeling it and making that panel. But this is the best thing that I've figured out, that I was hoping that I might be able to manipulate this particular boot, but it's too far gone. And the guy wants to kind of salvage some stuff to see if he could pitch it and sell it. But I think this is our best bet. Some of you guys may think I'm crazy for going back to the old one that's in this bad a condition, but it holds the true shape. All it is now is keep the same shape and make a lot of new panels. These panels here, we're gonna see if we can we know they make them in England. We're gonna see if maybe we could just buy a new set of those so I have something to start fresh. And if they do, and they come with this back box with new studs, that'll make my life easier, because I'll repair all this first, then I'll cut this off, then I know the new one sits right there on it. Then I could just weld it in, and that'll take care of that. Both sides are that way. So, like I said, if I can get any help on one of these, I'd greatly appreciate it, because I'm at a stumbling point on a couple measurements. I have all my other measurements, but I don't have the ones that I described in the video. So if you guys could help me out, I'd greatly appreciate it. If you guys don't follow me on my other social media pages, go over there and like it and subscribe and become a follower. And in the bottom right hand corner, hit the subscribe button, because this is going to be a pretty intense build, and I will start shooting in depth and maybe some time-lapse videos when I do it. But I just actually haven't started. I'm trying to figure out what went wrong, if that makes sense. And so I had to start with something that I knew fit, because the old fenders didn't even fit on that one. They fit on this one really well, but they have some work to be done too. So, like I said, shoot me a comment. If you guys have any friends or anything that has one of these, please. I mean, I'm in dire need of some measurements, and if you guys can get me for those, like I said, I'll give you guys a free shirt. Once I get those, I'll contact you through name on instant messenger or whatnot, get your size, and I will mail it to you at my expense. I don't care where you are, what, you know, or anything like that, but I definitely appreciate it, because there's a lot of work here, and I'm kind of at a stopping point. I mean, I could start doing the metal work, but for the back, but the front, I can't go any further. I mean, I can cut it off, but I can't, you know, I can't square it up. So there's no reason to cut it off if I can't square it up yet. So give me those measurements. I greatly appreciate it. Stay tuned, because I will start shooting an in-depth video and some time lapse on this. Cutting apart these fenders, it's been boogered up so much that, I mean, it just takes enormous amount of time to cut and get all this off to try to salvage these front fenders. I mean, you could see the weld jobs that they did. I mean, they're hideous. So I'll get to cutting on that, and I'll get that fender free, and I'll probably get this door off. At that point, I just need those measurements. So if anybody could please help, I'd greatly appreciate it, like I said. I mean, and this will be definitely a cool build for you guys to kind of watch with the time lapse. So stay tuned, and I'll start shooting video once I get those measurements, and I'll start going to town on this thing. Thank you.